everyone. Today we are going to start with the same topic, that is database concepts. I'll just take some of the overview from my previous video so that you can refresh in case you have forgotten. Here you can see that I have written the limitations of the file approach. File approach means basically the way we are keeping our data in the form of paper and keeping it in a file in a simple form. So what are their limitations? Why do we need DBMS? So whatever their limitation means, all those limitations will be eradicated if you simply move your file system from manual to database management system. So first you can see that difficulty in access, as whatever the records are coming, you are simply writing it on a piece of paper and filing in the maybe in any folder or in a box file or whatsoever it is. But when you are keeping, you are not arranging it, right? Even if you are arranging, that may be according to the date, whereas in computer you can arrange it the way you want, alphabetical order or date wise, or that is totally up to you how you want to arrange it. Next is data redundancy. If suppose Dr. Kapoor, okay, this is the name of the person whose information you are storing. If once that person has visited you again and again, if he is coming, you will have that pile of papers, whereas in computer you can simply have one name, and under one name you can have lot of information the way you want with the help of different type of fields as well as records. So redundancy means repetition. So repetition will only be there if you are having file system, whereas in DBMS there are no chances of redundancy. Data inconsistency means if you are coming and I am attending you, I may write your name first and then your age and so on the details. If any other person when you are coming again is attending you, in that case he or she may write something else. He may write your age first, your other details first, or maybe name at the end. So that depends upon the person to person how they feel that data should be organized. Basically data will not be in any particular form of structure when you are using file approach. Next is data isolation. Data isolation means it cannot be correlated. You may have one customer who has come to you last year. Now again if he is coming, you cannot keep all those files. Even if you want to keep it, you have to take out that particular file from your records and then you have to match it. Means lot of cumbersome will be there, which may create some sort of confusion in your mind, or at last you may ask your customer all the details again. But in computer, even if 5 years ago you have saved any information, it is going to remain same in the form you have saved it. Data dependence. Data is dependent upon the, so basically when you are storing your data, at that time you may have used different structure. When again you are using it, and even if you want to make any changes in it, it may get changed. You need to strike off some of the things, so that may create some sort of confusion, whereas in computer you don't have any such sort of problems. Data sharing security or control issues. This may be like if you want that some of the part only of your database could be shown to some of the customers, like if you are working in a hospital and any patient, he or she wants to know about all the treatment, okay, so everything you have in the form of file system, in that case you have to show each and every detail to the patient. You cannot hide any information because everything is written on that piece of paper, whereas when you are storing your data in a database, you can hide those columns. You can even have your like read only file where patient can only view, cannot make any sort of changes. So these type of control issues are available in file approach, whereas in database management system you can have the control on the security of your database management system. Now some of the key concepts we are going to start, that is database management key concepts. Database schema. Schema means when you will do practical, it will be more clearer to you. Database schema, basically only the structure of your table. Structure basically means when you are going to have, like you are having one roll number field, then you are having name, and then you may have class. Now roll number will be in number data type, name will be in character format, class again it will be in character or number. So this is only your database schema. Okay, here you cannot have any sort of records, you are only talking about your fields. Okay, I hope you remember what fields are. If you don't, please watch the previous video. Number is the type of data which you are going to enter. So this is your database schema, which only show the structure. No entries, no records, nothing. Only what type of data you are going to store in your fields. That is database schema. Next is database instance. Database instance means in this particular 3 fields you can have 200 records, maybe 2000, right? It can be changed even after 1 month. It could change into 2100. It can change, it may reduce or it may increase, but database schema is going to remain same. So you can say database instance can change. Instance means the number of records you are entering. Your particular database is having number of records, whereas schema means you may have 2100, but what 2100 entries will be of roll number, name and class. Next is metadata. Metadata is very simple. Its definition is, it is data about data. Data about data means that is self-descriptive. Here when I have written roll number, name, class, you can easily judge that this particular table related to school, related to any particular class. So that is metadata, which is descriptive in its own language. You don't need to define it. So metadata, which is the data about data. Next is data constraint. Constraints, students remember, constraints meaning is rules. See, whenever you are making any of the rules, at that time you have some specific rules. You cannot create your database without any rules, because if you will create it without rules, it will be similar to your file approach only. Now what are those rules? Primary key. In my previous video I explained about primary key, which is unique in its nature. We are going to study about more constraint, but right now I can tell you, you can have foreign key, primary key, candidate key, alternate keys. Basically these are the rules which you are applying to your database, so that you could be very careful when you are making entries. Suppose you have, there is one constraint which is called check constraint. Check constraint means when you are entering any value in your database, suppose if you are in class 11th, right? In class, if you are writing except 11th, it should check, and you may have another section A, B, C, but you all belong to single class, that is class 11. So in that case, it will gives you the warning, the data which you are entering, that is incorrect. So that is check constraint, which is checking, keeping an eye on your entries which you are making. Wherever, being human, while making entries, you can make errors. So whenever you are making errors, at that time it will check the entry and it will tell you wherever you will make wrong entries. Next is query. Query is simply whatever the questions you are having, because in MySQL you are going to make a lot of entries. So what all questions, what all queries you have, that is called basically creating your database, creating your table, and then taking out some of the information from that table or database. Data manipulation, that is again insertion of the data, deletion of the data. Then next is data engine. Engine means, see students, here you are going to do two softwares in your class 11, that is Python and MySQL. So when you are going to join these two softwares, as you, I hope that you all remember that MySQL is backend. This all things which I am explaining, that is your backend, whereas Python is your front end. So whenever you are working on the front end, your backend will not be visible to you. Google search engine is your front end, so you cannot see MySQL. Are you able to view that where all the data is stored? No, you cannot. But what you can have the look on, you can have your Google front end. Similarly, you being a programmer, you are going to look on these two softwares, that is your backend as well as front end. So front end will be only for the user, whereas programmer is going to interact with both the software, that is front end as well as back end. So DB data engine is basically going to join those two software, both like front end as well as back end. So this engine we will require when we will connect these two softwares, that is Python and MySQL. Next topic is properties of a relation. Relationship, I hope you remember, which I have explained earlier, that is one to one, one to many, many to one and many to many. So what properties should be followed between rows, columns and these relations so that your database should be unique and it have all the proper arrangement of the records which you are keeping in it. First of all is, these are your column names, okay? So these column names should be unique. You can have n number of data in these columns, but these column names will not be changed in any situation. Now there is no relevancy. Suppose if from this table you only want roll number, you can have it. There is no such ordering of the columns, like if you want name first, you need roll number. No, you specifically want only names, you can take out the names. You specifically want only class, you can take out the class column only. If you want all the three, you can. If you want only roll number and class, that is also possible. So there is no relevancy of ordering of the columns. Means if you may be thinking that you have made roll number, then name, then class, in this order you have made column. Now whenever you want to retrieve this information, you have to follow the order. No, only remember that these columns are unique, you cannot change its name. Rows, similarly, whatever the data you are going to enter in these rows. Okay, so this may have significance, like 11th is your class, 1 means you are in section A and 01 means your roll number is 1. It cannot be divided. It is atomic. You cannot divide this particular information. You may know that this particular number has some division, it is representing something, but you cannot divide it, because 01 could be roll number of any other class. There could be many A sections, but there will be only one 11th class which has A section and whose first student has roll number 1. So this is rows. Then in rows only we have, again the sequence of row is insignificant. If you want to only retrieve this particular field, only you want that this particular field should come, you can take it out, no problem. Whatever your data is, you can take it out. So it's not necessary that first you have entered roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3, then so on it should come. No, you can directly retrieve the last data, any data, whatever you want to retrieve. Now come to relations. Again, relations, there is like you can have 4 kind of relationship, but values are atomic. It cannot be changed. Next point is, like it could come from the same domain. Same domain means like you can create a relationship between roll number and name, then again roll number and class, because roll number is your primary key. So it should not, it domain from where it has come, that should not be changed. Then last is, these columns cannot remain empty. There should be some values. You cannot make it empty. Okay, that we remember. Now next we will start with the keys. Primary key, I hope you all know this is your primary key because this is your unique data. Whatever the table you have, in that you can have n number of columns. Those n number can have n number of records, but the value which is unique in nature, that particular column will be your primary key. In your case, roll number is the primary key. In my case, teacher ID will be the primary key, because you may have same name students, you may have same name teachers, they may be teaching the same subject, they may have same surname, but their ID will always remain unique. Now next is candidate key. Candidate key means which can be a primary key, but it is not that strong that you should go to make it a primary key. Suppose you can make name as a primary key. It is possible that in your class there is no student who are sharing same name. Okay, till now you don't have, but it is possible maybe tomorrow any other student who is taking admission is having the same name which whose name is already in the class. It is possible. So in that case, if you are making primary key to name, then you will be in big trouble. Your DBMS, all the purpose will be fail of creating a DBMS. So it can be a candidate key. Okay, primary key can be a name, but you cannot make it because it can lose its objective somewhere. Okay, so candidate key means, here you can simply take the example. There are two people who are standing in election. Okay, person A can also win, person B can also win. Both are candidates, but only one is going to win. So whosoever will win, that particular column will be your primary key. Is it clear? Okay, so this is your candidate key. Now it is possible that you may have two columns which can serve as candidate key. Here I have not taken any other column, but if you will take one more column, for example, you can have your bus number. Okay, so bus number, you may have, like, for all the separate routes of your city, you may have separate buses. In that case, this can also be a candidate key because you have separate, but it cannot be because again we are having this roll number criteria. So when you have more than 2 or 3 candidate keys, it will be served as alternate key. Next is foreign key. Foreign key, foreign word, I hope you all understand what is foreign, which is not from our own country, right? So in DBMS, foreign key means which is not of our table, it will come from any other table. But remember, foreign key should be unique in its own table. This is your table. Suppose this table name is student. Here this is primary key. Now you are making one more table, that is teacher table. You want to use this primary key in this table, you can use it, but here this primary key will be called as foreign key. Understood? Primary key of one table, when it will go or when it will be called by any other table, that time it will serve as foreign key. Okay? Again, there are some of the rules when we are using foreign key, and those rules are called referential integrity rules. Rules means this particular column cannot be null. This is our primary key. It can be served as a foreign key, so it cannot be null. So here whatever the data type, that same data type should be followed here. And one primary key, when it will be served as foreign key, its name gets changed. You can give name to that particular constraint. So there are some rules which we are following whenever we are using any primary key as a foreign key, which we need to follow. Next is history of MySQL. Now, what is MySQL? Students, when this concept of DBMS came into an existence, at that time there is one company that is called, still that company is there, that is Sun Microsystem. Sun Microsystem is a company which has developed one software that is called Oracle. And in that Oracle, whenever you want to perform any sort of queries, they have made one part which is called SQL, that is Structured Query Language. but that language has so many drawbacks that it is only limited to the companies. It cannot be used by, like, for learning of the students or for college purposes. It, like, for educational purposes, it cannot be used because of its complexity. So in the year 2009, I think so, 20th April 2009, on this day, one more database language has been developed, that is MySQL. So this is very easy language, easy to learn, easy to have any sort of editing which was not allowed in SQL. SQL is still the same full form, that is structured query language. My is the name of the person's daughter who has developed this particular language, that is A.K. Monty. This is the person who developed MySQL in the year 2009 on 20th of April, and he has added this my name on his daughter's name so that he can like have its own originality of the language on this MySQL. So this is MySQL history. Next is MySQL database system. Several times I have explained this server client system. As you are working on the database, whenever you are writing any text in your search engine, that particular text will go to server, and when you are asking for any information, you are acting as a client. As a client, you will ask any information to the server will respond to your request. I hope you all remember, client request any information to the server and server is going to respond to your request. Okay. Now some of the features. First one is the speed. Its speed is very fast, cost effective. It is available free of cost on the internet. Very easy to use. Query language support, as I told you, the way you are writing your simple English sentence, that you can write and you can have your query get solved. Portability on any device, it could be easily downloaded and can be run. Data types, n number of data types support is there. Data type means the type of data which you are going to enter in this. So that is there. Security, that is password protected if you want to make, means all the security features are available. Scalability and limit means you can have 50 million records you can save in this MySQL. So you can have like a huge amount of database stored in it. You can connect it to any of the front end. Localization means anywhere, even if you want to have any sort of server client system in any particular organization, that is also possible. Clients and tools. So basically, if you want to have any particular tools which you want to give to client, that is also possible. So these are the different features of MySQL database. Now next is how you can process your database once you have stored your records, your columns, your rows. Now how you can process. So basically we can process this with different type of commands which we are using in SQL. Like you can insert records, you can delete records, even if you want to do any kind of manipulation that you are able to do. First of all is you can insert. Once you have created your table, you have created your fields, now you can enter your record in the number of rows you want to enter. Then next you can have embedded DML. Embedded DML means where you can like in any other language, as this MySQL you are going to combine with Python. Even if you want to combine MySQL with C, C++, that also you can do. Basically embedding means when you have one another type of thing in a particular software. Next is you can have interactive DML. Interactive DML means, here DML means you are doing any sort of data manipulation, so that you can interact in a way you want any sort of certain information that you can directly have from your database. Then next is security. As I told you earlier also, that whatever the data you are entering in MySQL, that is secure, that is password protected. So if you want to have any kind of security, you can have it. Even You can have one authorization feature. Authorization feature means if someone is asking or want to have a view of your database, you can just have any sort of restrictions and you can authorize that person to only read your data, or if you want that person can have any sort of editing, then you can give as read as well as write data. So that is your own wish, whatever the authorization you want to give. Then next is transactional control. Transactional control means where you can have the transaction. This will be clear when I will explain this classification of SQL. Basically we have 5 type of commands. First you can see that is data definition language, where you can manipulate, where you can create, where you can give all kind of rights, means whatever the processing capabilities are there, that you can do in data definition language. Then data manipulation language, where you can have any sort of changes which you want to give. Okay, that will be your embedded or interactive DML, or even creation or manipulation. Then next is transactional control language. Transactional control language means very simple example here I'll give you. Transaction, you can have, like in this you can have command commit, which you are going to use in your MySQL as well, and auto commit. Simple example is you want to withdraw some of the money from your bank account. You are not going to bank, you are going to some of the nearest ATM so that you can withdraw the amount. You will go to the ATM, you will insert your ATM card, and when you are about to take out the money, you may forgot your password, or you may don't want to continue, or maybe there is some electric failure because of which you are not able to withdraw the money. This can happen. At that time, your transaction will not be recorded. Recorded means whenever you have any sort of transactions in bank, all the entries you have in your passbook, even if you have online system, it will show all the entries, like on a particular day you have withdrawn a particular amount, right? But in this system, in TCL system, if your any transaction gets failed means you are about to take out the money, but because of any of the reasons, maybe electric failure, it could be maybe any of the fault in the machine, anything it could be, at that time your transaction will not be recorded because you did not withdraw the money, right? But in case you have successful transaction, you went to the ATM, you withdraw the money and you came back home, that will be recorded, right? So we can say in this TCL commands there will be all transaction. All transaction means you begin your transaction and you are able to complete it, or the status will be none. You have never started, you went to the ATM, you insert the command, but unless and until you are not able to complete your transaction, nobody will come to know that you went to that particular ATM, and after that you have put your card and then you enter your password. Nobody will come to know because your transaction is not completed. So that is called all or none. And what is the purpose of this commit or auto commit? Auto commit means, when I'll explain you about MySQL, when we will start with its practical, you will come to know that we are not saving anything. Why? Because that set auto commit is on. Commit means which is going to be saved forever without using save command, because by default this auto commit is on in MySQL. You want to off it, you can off it, but by default it is on. So commit means the changes which is made, that is permanent, it cannot be deleted, right? We have one command that is called rollback in MySQL, which means you can undo your changes the way you are using undo in Microsoft Word. Similarly, if you want to revert any changes in MySQL, you can use rollback. Then we have save point. Save point we are using when we want to save our queries till any particular point. At that time you can use this save point. Okay, then we have security session control commands. These commands we are basically using when we are having any sort of transactions online. So that is not part of your syllabus, but as I told you that in classification we have 5 commands. we have only these three in your syllabus. I hope you all understood this concept. Thank you.